All right, good evening, everybody. This is meteorologist Brad Warner with Region Weather Live. Hope everybody's having a good evening. We're looking at some changing conditions overnight into tomorrow. Some gusty northwest winds are expected to move into the region, and so the weather services across North Dakota have issued a few advisories and weather statements for portions of our viewing area. Right now out in the east in that white area that we see out here, they are giving us a special weather statement. As you can see right here, they're expecting strong winds and some snow showers tomorrow. West-northwest winds gusting 30 to 40. This is out of the weather service. Create isolated periods of blowing snow, reduce visibilities down to half mile or less. People in this area may see intermittent conditions of poor travel and poor visibility in open country. Additionally, some blowing snow and ice melt may refreeze on surfaces. This is valid until, well, it looks like 3:30 a.m. That's not quite right. It'll be effective overnight tonight and into portions of tomorrow as well. I don't think this time is right on here, but it's valid for East Marshall, Kitson, Norman, Pennington, Red Lake, Roseau, West Marshall, and West Polk counties. As you see further to the west in this green area, they have issued a winter weather advisory, and that's for areas in Benson, Cavalier, Eddy, Griggs, Nelson, Ramsey, Towner, Western, and Walsh County. That's from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning until 6 p.m. tomorrow. Snow and blowing snow expected, total accumulation of up to 1 inch, and I think that's probably going to be pretty much the extent of it. I don't think we're going to see any more than an inch. It's just going to be mostly some light snow moving through. Wind gust high is 45. Plan on slippery road conditions with blowing ice, road conditions with blowing snow and some ice possible. Blowing snow could reduce visibilities, creating isolated whiteout conditions in some open countries. So that is all those areas in the white in the counties that I mentioned there. And obviously there's still plenty of snow in that area. So that whatever kind of snow or winds do develop, I'm still expecting, unfortunately, we're still in that winter conditions. So, we're still looking at reduced visibilities throughout that region. And then just a wind advisory for Burke, Burley, Dickey, Kidder, Lemoore, Logan, McIntosh, McLean, Montreal, Renville, Sheridan, Stutzman, and Ward. Northwest winds 35, gusting to 50 possible throughout the area from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So just maybe some patchy blowing and drifting, but otherwise just because of the lack of snow, mainly west of the Highway 52 corridor, really is where the snow starts to cut off. And so that's where this just turns more into a wind advisory. As we take a look at some of the winds right now, you can see basically where this cold front lies. It's right in through here as my computer catches up here. But you can kind of see all the red wind barbs back behind it, the black and the red. And the red are the wind gusts. So we're definitely seeing some gusts of 35 knots, 35 knots. So we're getting gusts near 40 miles per hour already just behind it. And then there are some areas as well along and just behind the front where they are having some snow. This little doohickey there, the little two arrows, that's actually blowing snow. Again, some snow back in through here. So once this front basically moves to the southeast, this is what we can expect to follow, is all these wind gusts back here. And there are some wind gusts of 40 knots or greater back here. So we're talking wind gusts of over 40 miles per hour. So just again, kind of keep that in mind as we take a look at this, as we watch this front move down to the south and east throughout our time period. Again, here's kind of the snowpack, the valley basically right in through here, a little bit more snow up through the Bottineau, Rugby, Carrington, just kind of down and through the Valley City area, and then back up through Devils Lake. So that's also where some of the stronger winds are going to be. And then as you get into Minnesota, kind of some higher amounts in the northern parts of the state. And then once you get back down to Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Alexandria, and portions to the east of there. A little bit higher amounts, but still, everybody in between still has a fair amount as well. But the main thing here is once you get, west of that line, snow really starts to taper off. So whatever kind of winds will be out there tomorrow really won't be impacting the roads too much, just because of the obviously lack of snow. All right, as far as the forecast goes, here's one of the models that came in overnight, and here you see the high winds that are starting to move its way into the northwestern part of the state right here, and they are depicting 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts as it moves into the northwestern part of the state. Now, that cold front continues to move down to the south and east throughout the nighttime hours and into the early morning hours. In fact, makes it across much of North Dakota, and by 6 a.m. Just kind of reaches the valley region. So by 6 a.m., we're looking at most areas seeing gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour, and possibly some areas even higher than that, as I'll show you in a bit. As we get into the mid-morning hours, some of those wind gusts start to creep into the northwestern part of Minnesota. So that's why this little advisory here does the special weather statement, kind of creeps up into some of those counties in northwestern parts of Minnesota, just because we're expecting some of those winds to gust over 30, maybe some 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts in there as well. So just keep that in mind as you head out and traveling tomorrow. Especially most areas are going to be seeing wind gusts over 30 miles per hour once you get into that 9 a.m. time frame, and actually even earlier than that for most of North Dakota. By 6 a.m. everybody's going to be seeing gusts over 30 miles per hour and causing some reduced visibilities along and east of that Highway 52 corridor. Those winds are expected to eventually decrease as you get into the evening hours. Here we are at 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can see how this model in particular anyway wants to decrease the winds. Probably decreases a little bit too fast for my liking. Here we see the winds just about 2,500 feet off the ground. And I've mentioned before the whole coupling factor. When you get winds at different levels going at the same direction, during the daytime in particular, those winds can kind of mix down. Here we see 30 knots of wind, so 3 wind barbs that kind of stick out like this. That means about roughly 34 miles per hour. And here we are at 2,500 feet. Now, as we go up to about 5,000 feet, so we're going up another 2,500 feet, and you can see how the wind direction is there. Fairly similar. So they are somewhat coupled. They are going the same direction. And here we're seeing wind barbs up to 40 knots or greater. So now we're talking wind gusts of 45 and maybe even 50 miles per hour working its way down to the surface. But at this point, here we are at 9 a.m. You can see possibly where some of the stronger wind gusts will be, and pretty much where we were pointing it out, and where that main advisory is, right through that Devils Lake, Minot, Carrington, Fessenden, New Rockford area, and then points north of there as well. And then as we get into the later afternoon hours, as we get into more of that 3 p.m. time frame on Tuesday, you can see just, the winds are kind of decreasing a little bit already. And so as you get into the evening hours on tomorrow evening, winds will die down some, but we're still expecting some wind gusts at 25 to 30 miles per hour lasting into possibly even into Wednesday morning. Here you see that frontal boundary move through, and by 10 o'clock it's already well down to the south, made its way through most of the state, and most of these temperatures back here are sitting in the teens to maybe some 20s, and you're not really going to see that change throughout much of the day tomorrow, just because we have all that northwesterly winds. Going to be getting plenty of cold air advection behind that. Temperatures really aren't going to change much. We're just going to sit in that teens to maybe some 20s throughout the day. Once we get into the evening hours, obviously once the sun goes down, we get into these more purpley, colors here, so we're getting below 10 degrees. Once we get into 9 p.m. time frame and closer to midnight, and obviously temperatures are going to cool down overnight, and so we're going to be picking up some colder temperatures as we get into the second part of the week. along with that frontal boundary, you'll notice, the discussion on some of the Weather Service mentioned up to an inch of snow. So here you see it. This is as of 6 p.m. Still some light snow lingering on the backside of that cold front, which is now well to the south. And so we'll still be picking up maybe some light flurries, some light snow, mainly in the eastern parts of North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota, into the evening hours. But by this point, really not much in the way of snow. It's going to be very light. And I think as you get into that 9 p.m. time frame, most of that snow will be out of the area as high pressure begins to dominate. Maybe some light snow down in the southwest late in the day on Wednesday, but otherwise mostly high pressure. So that means cold, lighter winds. Until you get into the day on Thursday, we've got another little clipper system that wants to move into the area. And here's another cold front sagging back to the northwest. And now as you watch that, and that moves into the northwestern part of the state by 3 p.m. Central Time on Thursday. So, of course, another round of snow, another round of stronger winds will move from northwest to the southeast, possibly bringing another inch of snow across the state, and also a fair amount of wind. Here's that cold front sitting basically right, in through here by 9 p.m. Thursday night. So areas, along or ahead of it will probably see snow, and then also somewhat behind it, but mainly behind this cold front, the winds are going to start to pick up, and we're going to get the reduced visibilities once again as that continues to move to the northeast or move to the east. So overnight, off of the northwest, Thursday afternoon, probably going to see some pretty stronger wind or some stronger winds, and then into the evening and overnight hours in the east, those winds will pick up, and we're going to be seeing reduced visibilities one more time. As we take a look at some of the temperatures here, now this is the wind chill. This is Wednesday morning. We're expecting wind chills right now with 3 below down to the southwest, and then maybe 20 below off in the portions of the north. Again, this is Wednesday morning. Here's Thursday morning, even colder. Minus 15 down to the southwest to minus 30 as for some wind chills in northern parts of the region. As we click along on the day on Thursday, you can see it kind of tries to warm up a little bit. Mind you, once again, we're still looking at the wind chill, but it does try to rebound even from a wind chill standpoint. But watch this cold air come flying back in on the backside of that cold front, as I mentioned before. So with this amount of cold air advection coming back in, you can be assured we're going to be seeing wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour or greater once this cold air sags back in. And then by Friday morning, we're sitting at 20 below wind chills to 30 below to in portions of the north. This is, again, Friday morning. Throughout the remainder of the forecast as we get into the weekend, by Saturday, we try to moderate some. There is a bit of a weak system that tries to move through, fairly dry in nature. And so that tries to warm things up a little bit. With that will be some stronger southerly winds, as I'll show you in a bit. And then on the back side of that, these colder temperatures tried to sag back in for Sunday. But it's still not too bad. I mean, we're still looking at maybe some lows in the single digits, maybe some stronger northerly winds. So we're going to be seeing some colder temperatures into the teens below. But that doesn't last long. As you get into Sunday, temperatures back into the teens to 30s down in the southwest. And maybe some colder temperatures one more time on Monday morning. And then not too bad after that as we get into Tuesday. I really start to see a better warm up. Whoa, possibly we'll see if this works out. But 60s down in the southwest, melting conditions finally off in the northeast. We need to get rid of the snow. We need to start melting it. We need to start moving into spring. I would be very happy with that. This would be the 16th of March by this time. I think it's definitely time we melt some snow. So we're looking at some temperatures warming up as we get into the middle part of next week. Hopefully that kind of holds on. Hopefully some of these temperatures don't change. We're getting into Thursday time frame. But just right now, it doesn't look like we have any really cold temperatures coming down into the later part of next week. Here we're taking a look at the upper levels. We clicked on the wrong thing here. And what we're looking at is the anomaly, or the difference, or what's off a little bit, I should say, at the 500 millibar level. So that's between 15 to 20,000 feet. And here you see this trough moving into the area. This is Friday. That's what sets off the snow showers Thursday into Friday night. And as that continues to move to the south and east, you can see how this colder air, this trough, really starts to dig and connects up with this system that's digging a little bit further deeper to the south, and it really starts to pick up some steam. We get a nice big trough that moves into the east coast, and we're looking at the very real potential of a pretty good system in the east, a nor'easter developing into the weekend off into the east coast. So if you have any travel plans out in the east, make sure you stay up to date on any weather conditions out there, because it very likely is going to be messy. This is really digging deep, and this is looking like a real possibility that this is going to happen into the weekend. That system eventually does move off, and here we are into Sunday. We're trying to moderate things a little bit. Maybe another weak system moves through, but otherwise some fairly quiet conditions. And then as we get into that Tuesday time frame, that ridge begins to build, allowing some of this warmer air down to the south to finally kind of maybe nose its way into our area and get us some of this melting, get us some of the snow out of here. That would be just a nice, beautiful thing. As we move in to kind of the more, further into the extended part of the forecast, I can see not a whole lot is changing. Not much for disturbances, maybe a little weak trough into Wednesday on the 16th. May bring us a little cooler temperatures, maybe some snow, but otherwise more average temperatures, I guess, expected throughout the week next week. All right, there you have it. Just to make sure tomorrow, if you're out traveling, especially in this area in the green here, just beware of the weather. And then as you get into the valley region as well, that could change. Some of this advisory is just a special weather statement, but if some of these winds, I would expect some of these areas, this winter weather advisory is probably going to bleed into some of these areas in the white. So just because we still have plenty of snow, and we get any kind of more northerly component, that wind's going to be howling down the valley. So do be careful out there traveling. Again, this is expected to move in across the state. You can see the winds now gusting in the northwestern part of the state already. So this is going to move down to the southeast overnight and reach the eastern part of the state by the morning hours. So we're going to know right away in the morning what our conditions are looking like for the rest of the day, and probably going to be that way until the evening hours. So all right, there you have it. Once again, as always, please like, please share, do all that fun stuff. Click the little buttons down below. Go to my Facebook page, as it says right there, Region Weather Live. Go to my, well, if you go there, you'll know when I'm going to be on live. You're going to be the first one to know. If you go to my Twitter site, please share any kind of photos, any kind of updates you got on there, as well as Facebook, and I'd be happy to share them on the broadcast. So, all right, everybody, have a good night and take care.